I never thought a Christmas dinner would change my life forever. Vivienne Blackwood, my mother-in-law, had always been difficult, but that night she crossed a line that could never be uncrossed. I saw it all with painful clarity. The festive table adorned with her prized crystal nativity centerpiece, the way she deliberately served everyone but me, the satisfied smirk she couldn't quite hide. My name is Eleanor Reeves. I am 31 years old. I work as a pediatric occupational therapist in Melbourne, Australia. I help children overcome developmental challenges every day. Yet somehow I couldn't help myself overcome the challenges in my own family. My husband Nathan and I had been married for 4 years. 4 years of trying to earn Vivian's approval. 4 years of failure. I have always been a collector of vintage typewriters. I can identify bird songs from across a crowded park. I tend to laugh at inappropriate moments when nervous. My need for everyone to like me has been my greatest weakness. And I grew up with a father who constantly moved us for work, making me crave stability above all else. The crystal nativity centerpiece sat in the middle of Vivian's dining table. She had displayed it at every Christmas dinner for 27 years. It was her most treasured possession, a family heirloom passed down through 4 generations of Blackwood women. She never failed to mention this fact to me, never failed to emphasize that I was not truly a Blackwood woman. "The nativity stays with blood Blackwoods," she would say, looking directly at me. "Family tradition is sacred." The first time I noticed the pattern was 3 months after our wedding. Vivienne had invited 15 family members to Sunday lunch. I arrived early to help with preparations. She assigned me to polish the silverware in the kitchen. When lunch was served, every place had a personalized place card. Every place except mine. "Oh dear," Vivian said with exaggerated surprise. "We seem to be short one setting. Eleanor, would you mind eating at the kitchen counter? You don't mind, do you?" I looked to Nathan. He smiled apologetically. "It's just this once, Elle," he whispered. "Don't make it a thing." I ate alone in the kitchen. I told myself it was an honest mistake. I convinced myself I was being oversensitive. I blamed myself for not being more adaptable. 2 weeks later, Vivian organized a family photo session for Nathan's grandfather's 80th birthday. 6 family groupings were photographed over 2 hours. Somehow, I was excluded from 4 of them. "These are just for the immediate family," Vivian explained when I questioned it. "You understand, don't you? Some traditions predate your arrival." Nathan squeezed my hand. "Mom just wants some traditional shots," he said. "It doesn't mean anything." A month after that, Vivian hosted a garden party for 30 neighbors and friends. She introduced every single person to the group. Every person except me. When someone finally asked who I was, Vivian laughed lightly. "Oh, this is Nathan's wife. She's still getting to know our ways." Nathan was across the garden, chatting with his father. He didn't hear. I smiled politely and excused myself to the bathroom. I cried for 5 minutes before composing myself and returning. The incidents continued. Vivian would forget to forward family event details to me. She would reminisce about family stories, but stop abruptly when I entered the room. She would compliment everyone else's contributions to gatherings while ignoring mine completely. Each time, I made excuses. Each time, I tried harder to win her approval. Each time, I blamed myself for not fitting in properly. 6 months ago, Vivian invited us to dinner with her bridge club friends. 8 women in their 60s sat around her table. The conversation turned to marriages and relationships. Vivian took the opportunity to mention Nathan's ex-girlfriend. Rebecca was studying to be a surgeon, Vivian said, staring directly at me. Such ambition, such good breeding. Her family has a summer home in the Hamptons, you know. I felt my cheeks burning. 7 pairs of eyes shifted uncomfortably between Vivian and me. "Mom," Nathan warned quietly. "What?" Vivian raised her perfectly manicured hands in mock innocence. "I'm just reminiscing. Rebecca still asks about you, by the way. Her mother and I had lunch last week." That night in bed, I asked Nathan why he didn't defend me more strongly. "You know how Mom gets," he said. "She doesn't mean anything by it. It's easier to just let it go." But the incidents kept escalating. Last month, Vivian organized a family trip to the beach. She booked 5 rooms at an oceanfront hotel. When we arrived, every room had welcome baskets with personalized items. My basket contained allergy medication. I'm severely allergic to shellfish. "I thought you might need this," Vivian said sweetly, "since we're having seafood every night. I told the chef about your special needs." I spent 3 days unable to eat at any of the family meals. I survived on snacks from the hotel gift shop. Nathan brought me plates of safe food when he could, but he still attended every family dinner without me. "They're celebrating Dad's promotion," he explained. "I can't miss it. Mom says she's sorry about the menu. She claims she forgot about your allergy." 2 weeks ago, Vivian called to personally invite us to Christmas dinner. This was unusual. Normally, she sent group texts to everyone except me. "I'm making my special roast," she said, "Nathan's favorite, and I have a special announcement to make. Everyone must attend." I spent hours selecting the perfect gift for her. I baked my grandmother's famous chocolate truffles that everyone loves. I wore the conservative dress that Vivian had once almost complimented. I was determined to make this Christmas different. 23 people gathered around Vivian's expanded dining table on Christmas Eve. The crystal nativity centerpiece sparkled under the chandelier light. Vivian had added new angels to it this year, one for each Blackwood family member, she announced proudly. I noticed there wasn't one for me. When dinner was ready, Vivian began serving the plates herself, despite having 3 different side dishes to manage. "Mother, let me help," offered Sophia, Nathan's sister. "No, dear, this is my tradition," Vivian replied. "I serve my family with my own hands." One by one, she served everyone at the table. Her husband George, Nathan's brother Michael and his wife, Sophia and her husband, cousins, aunts, uncles, Nathan, even the children. 22 served plates. Everyone except me. The table fell awkwardly silent as people noticed my empty place setting. Nathan was deep in conversation with his cousin and hadn't realized what was happening. "Vivian," George said quietly, "you missed Eleanor." "Oh!" Vivian's hand flew to her chest in theatrical surprise. "How careless of me! I must have thought she'd already been served, or perhaps I assumed she'd brought her own food again, like at the beach." Something snapped inside me. 4 years of accumulated slights crystallized into perfect clarity. This was no accident. None of it had ever been accidental. "Nathan," I said, my voice shakier than I intended, "your mother just served everyone except me, on purpose." Nathan finally looked up. He glanced at my empty plate, then at his mother's satisfied expression. For one terrible moment, I thought he might ignore it again, make another excuse, tell me not to make a scene. Instead, he stood up. The chair scraped loudly against the hardwood floor. "Mom," he said, in a voice I'd never heard him use before, "serve my wife. Now." The room froze. Vivian's smile faltered. "I was just about to." Now, Nathan repeated, and after you do, you're going to apologize to Eleanor in front of everyone. My hands trembled in my lap. For the first time, I didn't try to smooth things over. I didn't make excuses. I didn't blame myself. I realized I deserved better. I would demand better, starting tonight. The rest of Christmas dinner passed in a fog of tension. Vivian served me with shaking hands. Her apology came through clenched teeth. I accepted it with a calm smile I didn't know I possessed. Something fundamental had changed, not just in how Nathan stood up for me, but in how I saw myself. 3 days later, Vivian called to invite us to New Year's Eve at her house. I answered the phone instead of letting it go to voicemail, as I normally would. "Thank you for the invitation, Vivian," I said, "but Nathan and I have made other plans." "What other plans?" Her voice sharpened. "This is a family tradition. Everyone attends." "We've decided to host a small gathering at our apartment with my colleagues from the clinic." "But that's not how we do things, Eleanor. The Blackwoods always celebrate together." "Not this year," I replied. "Happy New Year, Vivian." I hung up before she could respond. Nathan looked up from his laptop with surprise. "Did you just turn down my mother's New Year's invitation?" "Yes," I said. "Is that a problem?" He hesitated, then shook his head. "No, actually, it's refreshing." The phone rang again immediately. I let it go to voicemail. Then it rang 6 more times. We ignored it together. That weekend, I unearthed my collection of vintage typewriters from the storage closet. I had packed them away when we first married. Vivian had commented that they were dusty clutter and not appropriate for a Blackwood home. I arranged them proudly on our living room shelves. I signed up for a specialized certification in pediatric sensory integration therapy. It was a 6-month program I had been putting off because the classes fell on Sundays, the sacred Blackwood family lunch day. I registered without asking anyone's permission. When Sophia texted to confirm we'd be at Sunday lunch, I replied simply, "Not this week. I've started a new certification program. Congratulate your mother on her Christmas announcement for me." I realized I had never even heard what Vivian's big announcement was. More surprisingly, I didn't care. My colleague Priya invited me for coffee after work. We had always been friendly, but never spent time together outside the clinic. I discovered she was warm, funny, and completely uninterested in judging me. We made plans to meet weekly. "You seem different," she said during our second coffee date. "More relaxed." "I've been setting boundaries with my in-laws," I explained. "About time," Priya laughed. "From what you've told me, your mother-in-law is a nightmare." It felt liberating to hear someone else acknowledge it. No excuses, no "that's just how she is," just simple validation of my experience. At work, I proposed a new sensory program for children with autism. The program director not only approved it, but gave me a team of 3 therapists to develop it further. I stayed late developing curricula. I created specialized equipment with my own hands. I stopped rushing home to prepare elaborate dishes for Blackwood family gatherings. 6 weeks after Christmas, Nathan and I were eating takeout on our couch when my phone rang. It was Dr. Kamala Patel, the director of the International Pediatric Therapy Association. "Eleanor Reeves," she said, "your sensory integration program was brought to my attention by one of our board members. We'd like to feature your work at our Singapore conference in May as a keynote presenter." My heart nearly stopped. The IPTA conference was the most prestigious event in our field. Over 2,000 pediatric specialists from 47 countries would attend. And they wanted me to keynote. "This is a tremendous honor," Dr. Patel continued. "Your innovative approach to sensory integration is exactly the kind of work we want to highlight." After the call, I sat in stunned silence. Nathan came home to find me still staring at my phone. Elle, everything okay? I told him about the invitation. His face lit up with genuine pride. This is incredible. You've been working towards something like this for years. I need to prepare a 90-minute presentation, I said, and develop supplementary materials for 2,000 attendees. You'll be amazing, he said, hugging me tightly. This calls for champagne. As we celebrated, I realized I hadn't shared any news with the Blackwoods in weeks. I hadn't attended a single family function. And remarkably, my world hadn't collapsed. It had expanded. Nathan's phone buzzed with his mother's ringtone. For the first time ever, he silenced it without answering. It can wait, he said. Tonight is about you. In the following weeks, I threw myself into preparing for the conference. I worked late at the clinic developing my presentation. I practiced in front of Priya and my new circle of friends. I reconnected with former classmates who were now spread across 4 continents. I rediscovered parts of myself that had been dormant for years. My confidence, my professional ambition, my natural extroversion that had been stifled by constantly walking on eggshells around Vivienne. 3 months after Christmas, Nathan came home with an odd expression. My mother is hosting a party next Saturday, he said, for their 40th wedding anniversary. She's invited the entire extended family, plus their country club friends, at least 60 people. I waited for the familiar anxiety to rise, the automatic need to please, the fear of causing conflict. It didn't come. Will you be attending? I asked calmly. She specifically asked for both of us, Nathan said. She mentioned that people have been asking about you. Apparently, my aunt told her that snubbing you at Christmas was appalling behavior. I considered my options carefully. Continuing to avoid Vivienne entirely wasn't my goal. Setting healthy boundaries was. I'll attend, I decided, but I'm not helping with preparations. I'm not bringing anything, and if she starts her usual behavior, I'm leaving immediately. Nathan nodded. Those terms seem more than fair. Also, I added, I won't be hiding my conference keynote. If people ask what I've been up to, I'll tell them honestly. The day of the anniversary party arrived. I chose my outfit carefully, a tailored blue dress that projected professional confidence. Not to impress Vivienne, but to remind myself of who I had become. We arrived exactly on time, not early as Vivienne always demanded. She opened the door wearing an expression I couldn't quite read. Nathan, Eleanor. She nodded stiffly. Thank you for coming. The crystal nativity centerpiece had been repurposed for the occasion, surrounded by anniversary decorations. It still didn't include an angel for me. I found I didn't care anymore. Throughout the evening, relatives approached to chat. Many commented on my absence from recent family gatherings. When Vivienne's sister Margaret asked what I'd been doing, I answered truthfully. I've been selected to deliver the keynote address at the International Pediatric Therapy Conference in Singapore, I said. It's been keeping me quite busy. Margaret's eyebrows shot up. A keynote? That sounds prestigious. It is, I replied without false modesty. Only one therapist is selected each year. I noticed Vivienne hovering nearby, clearly listening. Her expression darkened. Later, I overheard her speaking to Sophia near the kitchen. Singapore, she was saying. She never mentioned any conference to me. And now suddenly she's some sort of expert. I looked her up online. Her clinic is quite modest, nothing special at all. Mom, Sophia replied, if Eleanor was selected to give this keynote thing, it must be a big deal. I'm sure she's exaggerating, Vivienne sniffed. You know how she tries to make herself important. I stepped away without confronting her. Her opinion no longer defined my worth. But I filed away the interaction, noticing how deliberately she was working to diminish my achievement. As Nathan and I prepared to leave, Vivian pulled him aside. I couldn't hear what she said, but his expression grew increasingly annoyed. He returned to me looking troubled. "What was that about?" I asked as we drove home. "Nothing important," he said too quickly. "Nathan." He sighed. "She's planning something for my birthday next month. A surprise. She wanted to make sure you'd bring me to their house." I nodded slowly, pieces clicking into place. Vivian hadn't changed. She'd merely adjusted her tactics. "Your birthday is 3 days before my conference," I said. "I'll be finalizing my presentation." "I told her that," Nathan replied. "She said family comes first." The familiar pressure to acquiesce rose within me, then receded just as quickly. My priorities had changed. My perspective had shifted. "I'll handle your birthday," I said firmly, "not hers." That night I couldn't sleep. Something about Vivian's behavior at the party bothered me. Her interest in my conference felt off. Her whispered conversation with Nathan seemed calculated. 4 years of experience had taught me to recognize the signs of her manipulation. I realized with sudden clarity that I would need to prepare for whatever she was planning next. 4 months after the Christmas dinner incident, my life had transformed completely. My sensory integration program had been implemented across 6 different clinics in our network. I had been promoted to senior therapist with a 15% salary increase. My circle of friends had expanded beyond the confines of the Blackwood family bubble. Most importantly, I had maintained my boundaries. I attended only one Blackwood family function each month, never stayed longer than 2 hours, and left immediately if Vivian started her passive-aggressive comments. Nathan had fully supported these boundaries, often leaving with me when tensions rose. The International Pediatric Therapy Association had finalized all details for my keynote presentation. I would be speaking to 2,500 attendees about my innovative approach to sensory integration therapy. The conference organizers had arranged 5-star accommodations in Singapore for 7 days. My clinic had granted me 2 additional paid weeks to explore Southeast Asia afterward. This professional recognition validated everything I had been working toward. Dr. Patel had even hinted at potential international consulting opportunities following the conference. "Your methodology has generated significant interest," she told me during our last planning call, "particularly in Australia and New Zealand, but also across Asia." I hadn't shared these details with the Blackwoods, not out of secrecy, but because maintaining professional boundaries had become essential to my well-being. Vivian had proven repeatedly that she couldn't be trusted with my accomplishments. Nathan's birthday was approaching quickly. He would turn 34 exactly 3 days before my departure for Singapore. I had planned a special celebration at his favorite restaurant with 12 of our closest friends. No Blackwoods, no crystal nativity centerpieces, no forced traditions. "My mother keeps asking about birthday plans," Nathan mentioned one evening. "What did you tell her?" I asked, looking up from my presentation notes. "That you're handling it this year. She didn't take it well." I smiled. "I'm shocked." "She mentioned that she's already ordered the cake from that bakery I liked as a child." The familiar pattern was emerging again. Vivian making unilateral decisions, creating situations where refusing her would make us seem unreasonable. Attempting to override my plans without direct confrontation. "Your birthday is on Tuesday," I said calmly. "We're celebrating Saturday night at Salvatore's. If your mother wants to see you on your actual birthday, you're welcome to have lunch with her, but the official celebration is the one I'm hosting." Nathan nodded. "That's what I told her." 2 weeks before Nathan's birthday, Vivian called and asked if we could come over to help sort through some old family photos. She claimed to be organizing a special album for George's upcoming retirement. Just for an hour, she insisted. I need Nathan's help identifying some of his childhood friends. Reluctantly, we agreed. When we arrived, Vivian led us to the living room, where dozens of photo albums were spread across the coffee table. The crystal nativity centerpiece had been moved to a side table, watching over the proceedings like a sentinel. "Nathan, be a dear and help your father move some boxes from the attic," Vivian said almost immediately. As soon as Nathan disappeared upstairs, Vivian's demeanor changed. "I need to speak with you about Nathan's birthday," she said, her voice suddenly businesslike. "I've arranged a surprise party at the country club, Saturday at 7. My heart sank, the same day as my planned dinner at Salvatore's. "That won't work," I replied. "I've already made arrangements for Saturday night." "Well, you'll need to change them," she said dismissively. "I've invited 48 people. The deposits are paid. The club requires 2 weeks' notice for cancellations." I took a deep breath. "Vivian, I'm not changing my plans. I've reserved a private room at Salvatore's. Nathan's friends are flying in from interstate." Her eyes narrowed. "Eleanor, this isn't a competition. This is about what's best for Nathan. The country club has significance. It's where he celebrated every birthday until you came along." "Until he became an adult," I corrected. "Nathan doesn't even like large parties. You know that." "I know my son," she snapped. "I've known him his entire life. You've been here 4 minutes." "4 years," I said quietly. "And in those 4 years, you've managed to drive a wedge between him and his family. You've been deliberately avoiding us for months." I stood up. "I'm not having this conversation. Nathan and I will celebrate his birthday as we've planned. You're welcome to join us at Salvatore's if you'd like." Vivian's face flushed with anger. "This is exactly why you don't belong in this family. You have no respect for our traditions, no understanding of our values." Before I could respond, Nathan returned from the attic. He looked between us, sensing the tension immediately. "Everything okay down here?" "Fine," I said, gathering my purse, "but I need to get home to work on my presentation. Are you coming or staying?" "I'll come with you," he said, giving his mother a quick peck on the cheek. "We'll look at the photos another time, Mom." In the car, I told Nathan about Vivian's surprise party plans. "I'm not surprised," he sighed. "She's been hinting at something big for weeks." "What do you want to do?" I asked. "Your plan, Salvatore's, our friends." He reached for my hand. No question. The next day, Sophia called me. This was unusual. We had a cordial relationship, but rarely spoke outside of family gatherings. "Eleanor, I wanted to check if you and Nathan are free for brunch on Sunday. Just casual, at that cafe you like near the Botanic Gardens." The invitation seemed innocent enough, but the timing was suspicious, right after the competing birthday celebrations. "I think we're free," I said cautiously. "Let me check with Nathan and get back to you." "Great! And by the way, congratulations on your conference thing. Mom mentioned it." After we hung up, I sat thinking about the strange call. Vivian never voluntarily mentioned my accomplishments, and Sophia had never invited just the 2 of us for brunch before. Something felt off. 3 days before Nathan's birthday. I was working late at the clinic when Priya stopped by my office. "There was a woman asking about you at reception earlier," she said. "Older, very well dressed, said she was your mother-in-law." My stomach tightened. What did she want? "Information about the Singapore conference. She claimed she was helping with your travel arrangements as a surprise. Jasmine told her we couldn't share your schedule without your permission." "Thank you," I said, feeling a chill. "If she comes back, please let me know immediately." That evening, I was searching for a document on our shared family iPad when I noticed an unfamiliar email notification. It was Nathan's personal email, which I normally wouldn't check, but the preview showed my name and the word Singapore. With a growing sense of dread, I opened the email. It was from Vivian, sent to Nathan, Sophia, George, and several other family members. As discussed, I've confirmed that Eleanor's prestigious conference conflicts directly with our planned family reunion in Tasmania. She claims she can't change her dates, though I suspect she hasn't tried. I've attached the family reunion details: 3 days at the Blackwood Lodge, all 27 of us together. I've paid the non-refundable deposits. Nathan, please remind your wife that family obligations should take priority over work conferences, especially mere presentations that anyone could give. I scrolled through the thread with shaking hands. There were 18 messages spanning the past 6 weeks, all discussing the family reunion scheduled during my conference. A reunion that no one had mentioned to me. From Vivian. Eleanor's convenient conference seems suspicious. I called her clinic today to verify, and they were oddly secretive. From Sophia. Mom, maybe this conference really is important to her career. From Vivian. More important than Nathan's birthday? More important than the first full family reunion in 7 years? If so, that tells us everything we need to know about her priorities. From George. Vivian, perhaps we should reschedule. The lodge has availability the following month. From Vivian. Absolutely not. I will not rearrange 27 people's schedules to accommodate Eleanor's sudden career ambitions. Nathan deserves better. He should attend the reunion without her. The final email was from yesterday. Nathan. After much consideration, I feel it's time for a family discussion about Eleanor's integration into our family. Her pattern of avoiding family functions, dismissing traditions, and prioritizing her work has become concerning. The birthday conflict and now this conference overlap with our reunion are symptomatic of deeper issues. I believe it's time to consider whether this marriage is meeting your needs. Rebecca Matthews is divorcing her husband, by the way. She asked about you at the club last week. I sat frozen, staring at the screen. The systematic campaign against me laid bare in black and white. The manipulation, the deliberate scheduling conflicts, the attempts to undermine my marriage, the secret communication with Nathan's ex-girlfriend. It wasn't just Vivian. The entire family had been included in these discussions about me, behind my back, for weeks. When Nathan came home, I silently handed him the iPad. He read through the emails, his face growing increasingly pale. "Eleanor, I had no idea," he whispered. "I never saw these. I hardly ever check this email account. Mom must have used it, because she knows I mainly use my work email now." There was never any family reunion planned before my conference was confirmed, I said quietly. Was there? No, he admitted. This is the first I'm hearing of any reunion. She tried to get information from my clinic today about the conference. Nathan closed his eyes. What do you want to do? I thought about it carefully. The old Eleanor would have apologized, made excuses, tried to smooth things over. That Eleanor was gone. First, we're going to have your birthday dinner at Salvatore's, as planned. Then I'm going to Singapore to deliver my keynote. And when I return, we're going to have a very honest conversation with your mother, in person, with evidence. The anniversary party, Nathan said suddenly. Her 40th wedding anniversary is 2 weeks after you get back from Singapore. Perfect timing, I replied. That night, I forwarded the entire email chain to my personal account. I saved screenshots of every message. I created a detailed timeline of Vivian's actions over the past 4 months. The crystal nativity centerpiece had been her weapon of choice for years, a symbol of family tradition that deliberately excluded me. Now it would be the backdrop for the final confrontation she never saw coming. The country club ballroom glittered with anniversary decorations. crystal chandeliers cast prismatic light across tables adorned with white roses and silver ribbons. Vivian and George Blackwood's 40th anniversary celebration was exactly as grandiose as one would expect. 73 guests in formal attire mingled beneath a banner reading 40 years of Blackwood tradition. I adjusted my emerald silk dress as we approached the entrance. My keynote presentation in Singapore had been an unqualified success. 3 international clinics had already reached out about consulting opportunities. Dr. Patel had introduced me to the board of the Global Pediatric Innovation Fund. I had returned to Melbourne 2 days ago with a renewed sense of purpose and an ironclad resolve. "Are you ready for this?" Nathan squeezed my hand. "Absolutely," I replied. Vivian spotted us immediately. She glided over in her silver gown, champagne flute in hand. "Nathan, Eleanor, you made it!" She air-kissed my cheek. "I wasn't sure if you'd be back from your little conference in time." "I wouldn't miss it," I said pleasantly. "How was Singapore? I hope it was worth missing our Tasmania trip." "Mom, there was no Tasmania trip. You made that up to create conflict with Eleanor's conference." Vivian's smile faltered slightly. "Nonsense. We had to cancel because too many people couldn't attend on such short notice." "Let's find our table," I suggested, guiding Nathan away before he could respond. Plenty of time to talk later. The crystal nativity centerpiece held court at Vivian's table. It had been modified with anniversary decorations, but remained unmistakable. The angels, representing each Blackwood family member, surrounded it. Still, no angel for me. We mingled with guests for an hour. I accepted congratulations on my keynote from those who had heard about it. Vivian circulated through the crowd, periodically glancing our way with thinly veiled irritation. At 8:30, George clinked his glass for attention. "Everyone, please take your seats for dinner. Afterward, Vivian and I have a special announcement." We were seated at the main family table with Vivian, George, Sophia and her husband, Michael and his wife, and Vivian's sister Margaret. 10 Blackwoods and almost Blackwoods around a circular table. The crystal centerpiece gleamed between us, a silent witness to years of exclusion. During the main course, Vivian regaled the table with stories of family traditions. Each anecdote subtly emphasized bloodlines and history. "The Blackwood Christmas service hasn't changed in 63 years, she said. "Some traditions simply shouldn't be modernized. Don't you agree, Eleanor?" "Some traditions deserve preservation," I replied evenly. "Others deserve examination." Her eyes narrowed slightly. "Well, those of us born into the traditions understand their value." After dinner, Vivian and George stood for their speech. The room quieted as George thanked everyone for coming. 40 years ago, I married not just a beautiful woman, but a guardian of family traditions," he said fondly. "No one preserves the Blackwood legacy like Vivian." Vivian stepped forward, radiant under the attention. "Family is everything to me. The Blackwood name carries responsibilities, expectations, a legacy I've devoted my life to protecting." She raised her glass. "To family, to tradition, to 40 more years." The room applauded as waiters distributed champagne for the toast. Vivian gestured for attention again. "And now our special announcement," she beamed. "After years of waiting for the right moment, George and I are establishing the Blackwood Family Foundation, a trust to preserve our traditions and support future generations of true Blackwoods." Murmurs of approval rippled through the room. "The foundation will ensure our most precious traditions continue. The annual Christmas service, the summer retreats, and of course," she touched the crystal nativity centerpiece, "the passing of family heirlooms through the proper bloodlines." Her gaze swept meaningfully across the room before settling on me. Because family isn't just about who marries in. It's about heritage, about preserving what makes the Blackwood name special through generations of true Blackwood descendants. Nathan's hand found mine under the table. He squeezed it reassuringly. Vivian continued. We've established a board of 5 family members who understand the importance of our legacy. We'll be making decisions about family traditions moving forward, ensuring they remain untainted. The implication was unmistakable. This was her latest weapon against me. A formal mechanism to exclude me from family decisions while appearing philanthropic. Applause followed her announcement. Servers appeared with dessert as Vivian basked in adulation from surrounding guests. I checked my watch. The moment had arrived. I stood up, clinking my knife gently against my glass. The sound rippled across the nearby tables. I'd also like to make a toast, I said, my voice carrying across the room. Vivian's smile froze. This wasn't in her script. To Vivian and George, I began. 40 years is truly remarkable, a testament to your commitment to each other and to the family you've built. Relieved smiles appeared around the room. Vivian nodded graciously, assuming I was following social protocol. I've been part of this family for 4 years now, I continued. In that time, I've learned a great deal about the Blackwood traditions, some beautiful, some meaningful, and some, I paused, meeting Vivian's suddenly wary gaze, some that deserve to be brought into the light. I reached into my clutch and removed my phone. For instance, the tradition of excluding non-blood Blackwoods from family photographs, or the tradition of forgetting to set a place for me at family dinners, or, most recently, the tradition of creating fictional family reunions specifically scheduled to conflict with my professional obligations. A confused murmur spread through the room. Vivian's face drained of color. "Eleanor," she hissed, "this is hardly the time." "It's exactly the time," I replied calmly. "After 4 years of systematic exclusion, after discovering your orchestrated campaign to undermine my marriage, after reading emails where you suggested Nathan reconnect with his ex-girlfriend, yes, this is precisely the time." 73 people sat in stunned silence. Nathan stood and moved to my side. "Perhaps we should discuss this privately," George suggested weakly. "No," Nathan said firmly. "This happens now, in front of everyone." I held up my phone. I have evidence of every incident, every manipulation, every lie. I have the emails you sent to 27 family members discussing how to force me to miss my keynote presentation. I have documentation of Vivian visiting my clinic to obtain confidential information about my schedule. "You're distorting things," Vivian spluttered, "taking everything out of context." "Would you like me to read the emails aloud?" I asked. "The one where you wrote, 'It's time to consider whether this marriage is meeting your needs?' Or perhaps the one mentioning that Rebecca Matthews is divorcing her husband and asked about Nathan at the club." Sophia gasped. "Mom, you didn't." "She absolutely did," I said, "and has been doing similar things for 4 years." I turned to address the wider room. The Blackwood family has many wonderful traditions. Unfortunately, systematically excluding and undermining Nathan's wife has become one of them. "That's enough," Vivian snapped, standing abruptly. "You're making a scene at my anniversary celebration." "Just like you made a scene at Christmas dinner when you served everyone except me?" I replied. "Or at Nathan's grandfather's birthday when you excluded me from family photographs? Or at every family gathering where you've made it clear I don't belong?" Nathan stepped forward. "Mom, Eleanor is my wife. She deserves your respect, your acceptance, your kindness. Instead, you've been cruel and manipulative. It stops today." The crystal nativity centerpiece gleamed between us, witness to the final confrontation. "Your crystal nativity set?" I said, nodding toward it. "You've told me repeatedly that it stays with Blood Blackwoods, that I'll never be worthy of it. That's fine. Keep your centerpiece. But understand this. You don't get to keep your relationship with us while continuing this behavior." George cleared his throat. "Vivian, perhaps we should." "No," she interrupted. "This is my anniversary. I won't have it ruined by exaggerations and accusations." "Then I'll make this simple," Nathan said. "You have a choice, Mom. Apologize to Eleanor, sincerely. Accept her as part of this family. Or accept that you'll be seeing a lot less of me." The room held its collective breath. Vivian looked around at the 73 witnesses to her public unmasking. Her carefully cultivated image of family matriarch was crumbling before their eyes. "I may have been overzealous in protecting our traditions," she said stiffly. "You've been cruel," Nathan corrected. "Deliberately, consistently, for 4 years." Vivian's sister Margaret stood up. "Viv, I've watched this happening. I've said nothing, and I'm ashamed of that. What you've done to Eleanor is inexcusable." One by one, other family members nodded in agreement. The wall of complicity was breaking. "I apologize if my actions have seemed unwelcoming," Vivian finally said. "Not good enough," Nathan replied. "A real apology. No qualifiers. No if you felt language." Vivian swallowed hard. "I apologize for my behavior, Eleanor. It was wrong." The words clearly cost her dearly. Her hands trembled against the tablecloth. "Thank you," I said simply. "I accept your apology. What happens next depends on your actions moving forward." We left the anniversary party 20 minutes later. Several family members approached to express their support before we departed. Sophia hugged me tightly. "I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner," she whispered. 6 months later, things had changed dramatically. Nathan and I attended Blackwood family functions selectively. When we did, Vivian maintained a careful civility. No more exclusions, no more passive-aggressive comments. She had learned that the cost of such behavior was too high. I had accepted a part-time consulting position with the Global Pediatric Innovation Fund. My sensory integration program had been adopted by clinics in 4 countries. I spent 1 week each month traveling for work. Nathan fully supported my career, often joining me on longer trips. The Blackwood Family Foundation proceeded without me on its board. This was fine. I had no interest in preserving traditions built on exclusion. 1 year after the Christmas dinner incident, we hosted the holiday gathering at our home. 22 guests, a blend of Blackwood relatives and my friends and colleagues. No crystal nativity centerpiece in sight. Vivian arrived with a small gift box. Inside was a crystal angel. "For your collection," she said awkwardly. "If you want it." It wasn't a complete transformation. Genuine acceptance would take years, if it ever came. But it was acknowledgement, a small step toward respect. I placed the angel on our mantel, neither highlighting nor hiding it, just another decoration, no longer a symbol of exclusion. "I've learned something important," I told Nathan later that night. "Family isn't about bloodlines or heirlooms or traditions." "What is it about then?" he asked. "Boundaries," I replied, "respect, and the courage to demand both when they're not freely given."